Greetings and welcome to Tea Trail. I'm your host, T Red, and on today's episode of Tea Trail, Nature's TV, we're indoors and just back in from a stroll to clear some cobwebs. I'm also keeping a sneaky eye out for Uranus, who is entering my star sign. Came in yesterday, but I'm still keeping an eye out. So today's episode of Tea Trail, I'd like to discuss the fifth extinction, and well, it's a story that's been bandied around for some time, and so a bit of me not so long ago got to thinking about the other stories that I've bought from the mainstream and how few of those actually add up to any sort of basis that has a solid foundation. Most of the stories have some truth within them, but actually the nugget, the juice, the truth has been kind of pushed to one side, and another story has been placed over the top. So the animal kingdom, I got the feeling not so long ago that it's a direct reflection of ourselves. Everything is consciousness. So it all comes from mind, and us on Earth are relatively new to the cosmic story. So before we get to the extinction, if we just do the creation thing, Earth was seeded as, well, it brought many different types of beings together, so that they could fulfill God's desire of us experiencing oneness. So we have Earth souls, which I believe did follow the genetic path that we have been told that of, from a single-celled amoeba, and then that as an organism finding out about itself and about others around it, and then those amoebas coming together to form a larger living organism. And then we went through the plant kingdom and then into the animal kingdom, and we ended up with primates kind of coming down out of the trees and standing upright and learning to run. So they were earth souls, and they were native to this planet. But all the time this was going on, other souls from other star systems were kind of keeping an eye out on what was happening, and I suppose in many ways, hey, it was pretty much like what TV is to us today, that it was entertainment. So a lot of the animals that are represented in the animal kingdom and the plants on this planet are representative of beings from other planets. Two spring to mind. So spiders, I always look at them and I'm just kind of like, there's something definitely out of this world about you. And then also marijuana and hemp. When you look at them as a plant, you just think, my gosh, you're unlike anything else we have on this planet. So it was a cryon channeling I listened to, which kind of backed up my intuitive belief on that the animal kingdom is a representation of what we are, and that we have predators in this planet because we ourselves are predatory, or we've been led to be predatory. So once we had kind of all the Earth souls who transitioned from primate to humanoid. Not so long after that, a group of beings came to Earth, and well, they did all sorts of mangling of our DNA, and created a race which would be happy to serve them in the extraction of gold. And they used all sorts of manipulative tactics. And God bless them, hey, these guys were suffering and still are a huge amount of shame from fucking their own planet. So we ended up with hybrids, human souls who kind of had relationships with those who came from elsewhere, and hybrid children were born. Our DNA was kind of crimped to keep us in a state of docileness. We had implants put in us and all sorts of tomfoolery to keep us, in servitude to them. So when we talk about the fifth extinction, there is truth in it, but I kind of recognise it that it's civilizations. There have been, I think, 4 before. This is the 5th time with, and to swap the word extinction with expansion. So we've learned enough about who we are and what we are, and that we're all single cells within the body known as humanity. And as we learn more about that, as we move towards oneness, the need for the animal kingdom is lessened, because in my view at least, the animal kingdom has been one of our best teachers. We can look at the different species and how they interact and the differences between them, and well, we can relate that directly to ourselves. It's a mirror of what we are as beings. And then the big one, which kind of removes us out of the extinction thing, is time isn't linear. So we've been led to believe that, we're on this great precipice, and there are 7 billion different views of this world, and we live in what is known as a general consensus. So that which comprises the largest body of thought and belief creates that which we see. And with respect to the extinction, new species are being born that we don't know about. And as we move closer to oneness, then we become more aware of the creatures that live in what was known as mythical realms. So as our vibration rises, our senses, which perceive around and about 10% of the visible and audible light and sound spectrum, increase, and we perceive more that is around us than was before. So space and time are both created by man, and it enables us to experience things. So I had a little chortle like, God created us so that we might try ice cream and all of the different flavours, and we had to move away from oneness to realise that we are one. So then back to the other civilizations, they've been where we are, and many of us were those civilizations. We were beings in those civilizations. And we've been many things here. We've been the perpetrators, we've been the victims, we've been the good guys, we've been the bad guys, we've been both male and female. So we've experienced it all, and I don't know, for me, like the whole putting myself into a box is just limited. I'm infinite, right? Like just infinite power, infinite energy, infinite possibilities. I am not this body. My body is. I am not an organism in an environment. I am an organism with its environment. So everything around me, the carbon molecules are exactly the same in the tree, in the cars, in the road. So it's that play, right? It's a hologram. So within the other civilizations, we got to a point where technology kind of was way more advanced than our wisdom to use it in a way which was beneficial. And then we kind of, more and more of us are remembering that our body is everything, right? Thy kingdom of heaven is the temple which houses our soul, and it is the original and still the best technology. Everything we see out there, technological wise, is kind of founded on traits and abilities we have within us. And then, yeah, back to that consensus thing. So for me, the box thing and the more I stay unattached and I recognize everything as God, everything is just right on time, right where it needs to be, for its own progression, that allows me to detach and concentrate my power within me and that which lights my fire, right? So that's the extinction thing, and yeah, time isn't linear. If you think of our DNA as a spiral, you can get from, if you had a piece of string from point A to point B, you don't have to travel all that way. You can just coil it round and literally step from A to B without having to walk. Just super exciting times, Ren. And yeah, it's nice to kind of leave and discern what stories came out of the control and domination, the conquer and divide. And after 10,000 years, or however long it's been, that's contained within us. And that's one that always surprises me. So in this body and in this life, I consider myself like a pacifist. But if you put me in a laser zone place with a gun, or Aikido with a sword, I know how to use that. There's something inside me that after having been in those shoes for 2 minutes, there's something that goes, you've done this before. And I recognize that. So yeah, it's just learning that, for me, that love is everything, and we're all exactly where we need to be. Everything serves the atonement. Labels are just that. So the rich and the poor thing, both of them are equally placed to find the doorway to the eternal through living their lives. Some of them, as we perceive, they are scraping to find money to feed themselves. And then the others have that much that they just keep on hoarding, and But those that we would consider poor have the best food and the best music, and they kind of look out for themselves. Those who we consider to be rich, and this might be wrong, are lonely, they're never satisfied. So both of them are gateways to bigger and better things. And then everything we see out there is of neutrality. Energy is neutral. It's how we label and perceive it, which creates the reaction we have with that which is in our environment. So, and this was a lovely one when I was with the guys at Cornerstone and someone passed away. It's praise the Lord, right? They're moving on with their journey. They're going on to the next phase. If they've set out what they were aiming to achieve when they came here as souls, then they'd probably move on to a non-physical existence. If they still have lessons to learn, then they re-embody. And then maybe that's a nice one as well here with the extinction thing. So people choose, or rather souls choose, to experience the ascension. Not everyone on this planet has chosen to. So when we say, oh, when will they wake up? That's pretty damning, isn't it? And they might not have chosen to. Hey, we still, in 3D, have a world of contrast, which is essential for growth. As we move into 4D and 5D, we recognise the oneness of all things. So contrast is lessened. We still have groups of people working on different things. So as we are transitioning now and moving back towards the central sun and consciousness is rising, a lot of people will really struggle with the darkness within, and they'll choose to end their own lives, which is all part of the dance, right? We can kill someone's form, but we can't kill their being. They're eternal. So if they choose death, they'll come back. This life, man, it's just incredible. For me as well, and one of Jesus's and one that resonates with me, love thy neighbour. TV, and I'm sure we've been there before, it's beautiful if it's your calling to want to help others in the world, but so many of the images we see come from a place where they want to control us through fear and through distortion of what is true. The rich and poor thing again, hey, they're labels, and we choose what we'd like to experience as we come down. So for me, it's loving myself primarily and learning to love myself again. It's loving those around me, and then this is the one for me at the moment. It's connecting with my soul family. And moving graciously away from my birth family. And when we do that, then we can support each other in co-creation and help raise each other up to a point where we can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and know that all is well. All is in place. All is God. So there you go. I'm actually quite surprised how this came out. It was just, it was either from there or from there. So it's been on my mind for a while. The other one about cannabis was off an Awaken Empowered um, video, and they said that that was seeded here from elsewhere, as too were a lot of the beings who are amongst us. So there you go, nanu nanu. I hope you're all well. It's looking like a really good year. There's lots happening. Communities that are rebuilding themselves, and we're recognising that what we eat and who we hang out with are hugely beneficial for what we can create and our state of harmony and peace. And yeah, that's me here. And I just, when you contain peace within, like squeezing the orange, peace comes out, and well, it's all part of the learning, and it's all about the journey. There is no final destination. There's just love, infinite love. I've been T-Red. This is T-Trail, Nature's TV. Got any questions or you'd like to get in touch? Feel free. And other than that, go and plant seeds, grow a garden, organic fruit and veg, and do what you like. As long as you're having fun and as long as you're enjoying and living your passion. Peace.